Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to watch. So I've got an update for you guys on this massive line of rainstorms that's going to be moving through the eastern U.S., and this is going to be dumping so much rain that we could see even some historic flooding. Now, we also do have, obviously, Tropical Storm Bret that we're going to dive into at the end of this video, so stay tuned and stick around for the rest of this video. Okay, welcome back to another Mr. Storm video, and we're going to dive right back into this one, and we're going to start this one off by talking about basically what we've got on our radar right now. So let me scroll back down here and kind of just show you around. So right now, what you've got is you got your storm, your low pressure storm right here, located pretty much just around South Carolina and North Carolina. This is moving north into the northeast, and this is going to bring some very heavy rainfall for both the northeast and the southeast. But this is going to be a very, very slow mover. So this is going to be sticking around for a few days, trying to skedaddle out of this area. And then once it does, it'll have left behind a ton of rainfall. We also do have some severe weather out here in the Central Plains that we're going to talk about today. But look at these storms firing across parts of Wyoming, Colorado, and then a lot of East Texas. You guys have been getting hammered lately, and a lot of power outages also have been reported. So very interesting to see what happens there. But I think we can now move on to our alerts. And so you can see that once this loads, what we have is we do have a few flash flood warnings out here for a lot of the southeast, and then a few counties up here in the mid-Atlantic region. But look at this. You got a huge flood watch that stretches all the way from the northern area of Florida all the way into southern Virginia. So this is a huge area under a flood watch, and then a few flash flood warnings and flood warnings out here for that area as well. And then for you guys in Texas, excessive heat warning out there for a huge area. It's a very big area. That's just because you guys have been really getting the heat and getting the sizzle out there. It's been you've got real feels in the 110s to the 120s. So it is absolutely sizzling and roasting out there. But we also do have a heat advisory for that same area as well. Well, not for the same exact area, but for the same general area. And then a tornado warning up here somewhere in northeastern Colorado. The tornado watches, though, there's two tornado watches, one up here for northern Texas and the panhandle of Oklahoma. This is going to be ongoing for the rest of the night, I believe. And then same for this one that's actually further north. This one is closer to like the border of southeastern Wyoming and parts of western Nebraska. So we do also have this area stretching in a few counties into northeastern Colorado. But really, I think the highest tornado threat is going to be farther south, just because the most moisture and the most kind of like, the area with the most interaction of cold air and warm air is going to be farther down south, along with that moisture. So those two things are going to work together to really, create those tornadoes. But we're going to move on now to, I believe, this is the south central U.S., and we're just going to be kind of breaking down these storms that we've got for you guys tonight, and then we'll continue with the rest of the update. But right now you can see that basically there's two areas of concern right here in this map. So the first one, which is probably the biggest area of concern, is right here, this one cell that started out just a few hours ago in northern Texas. This one is going to be the hailmaker, and this one is also going to be bringing a ton of damaging wind gusts. Okay, and then your second one farther north is this cell up here that already got going pretty much at the same exact time as this one. But you see, as this plays out, that they both start out really quickly, but they both form squall lines. This one looks a little bit less impressive than this one does. But it's just going to be a matter of how long it's going to take for the southern one, or the far southern one, to actually form that squall line. Because this one up north, it definitely forms the squall line, but it doesn't look as organized as what this one could turn out to be. Usually these ones down here in north central Texas, usually these are giant hail makers. You got grapefruit, baseball-sized hail. Those are crazy. We all know that, but these can also bring some damaging wind gusts out there. So we continue this throughout the night. This is the middle of the night tonight, and you've got tons of heavy rainfall falling right here in the middle of north central Texas. This is west of the DFW area, but this is really going to be dumping a ton of rainfall on you guys tonight. So watch out for you guys in Dallas and Fort Worth. Later, like very, very early tomorrow morning, you guys are definitely going to start seeing those, very intense rounds of downpours. But it looks like the strongest damaging wind gust could quite possibly be this one cell up here tonight in Colorado. But then, look how impressive this looks. This is crazy. We're getting to 3 a.m. tomorrow. Look how precise that line is. We got a huge squall line, and it's so precise that it's curving around itself. This is definitely going to be producing those damaging wind gusts that could get up to like 70 miles an hour. I'm not even joking. I think which one is going to produce the strongest damaging wind gusts, it's definitely, according to the NAM 3KM model, it's definitely going to be the cell farther south. But the earliest and the more consistent damaging wind, producer is definitely going to be this one up here in Colorado. But by 3 a.m. tomorrow morning, so like early morning hours of tomorrow morning, this will almost be out of steam and just done for the day. As you'll see a high pressure ridge form just farther north from the system, and then this very weak low pressure center will actually try and get these two to collide with each other, and then just create this rainstorm that will eventually move farther off to the eastern U.S. And then those will probably just give some more downpours and thunderstorms to those same general areas, except this one farther south could actually impact now parts of western Louisiana. So that's going to be it for the NAM 3K model for the south central U.S. And we're just going to be talking about the SPC outlook for, basically the severe weather percentages for today. And what you've got going on is you're up to an enhanced risk tonight for the same area as what we saw, on the NAM 3KM model. And this is actually, I think they updated this for June 22nd. Yeah, so this is actually old. So I think I did this too late at night, so we actually don't have the day one risk for today. But, we'll just go with what we've got for tomorrow. So by the time you're watching this video, it's probably June 22nd. So, I guess this would be a good time to look at something like this. But for tomorrow, what you've got is you're up to an enhanced risk. You got Abilene, Texas, Brownwood, Texas, Pampa, Texas, Stevensville, Texas, I think I'm saying that right, or Stephenville, Texas, and Borger, Texas. All of you guys are in that enhanced risk. Not a hugely populated area. You only got just over 640,000 people, so not too many major cities, although Abilene, Texas, you guys got to watch out. You are going to get hit by some pretty large hail out there. You got a big slight risk, though, of over 19 million people. Houston, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Austin, Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, and Denver, Colorado. All of you guys got to be alert and ready for whatever comes tomorrow. And also Cheyenne, Wyoming, you guys are in that as well. But there's a lot of other cities that will get impacted by the severe weather. And then there is a marginal risk, but I'm not going to, say all these city names because you guys in the marginal risk you should obviously still stay alert, but I don't think that it should be too bad out there. Tornado threat tomorrow, only 5%. That's for that area in northern Texas, not quite northeastern Texas, but just northern Texas in general. And you got Pampa, Texas, Borger, Texas, and Guayman, Oklahoma. And so the tornado threat shouldn't be too bad. You see that you didn't really have any precisely defined discrete cells. Those are the tornado makers, and I don't think you'll have any of those out tonight or tomorrow. Wind threat, it's pretty high. This is probably what's causing you to see that enhanced risk up. So you got two hatched areas. This one just circling Austin, Texas. This is very interesting to see that there's this one specific area in the 15% risk that is under a hatched risk for damaging wind gusts. But there's also the main threat, which is this 30% risk for that same general area as what we saw with the enhanced risk. including major cities like Abilene, Texas, Brentwood, Texas, Pampa, Texas, Stephansville, Texas, and Borger, Texas. But then Austin, Texas alone, for you guys in that 15% risk, you guys could definitely see some of those damaging wind gusts. That is because what we saw on the NAM 3KM model, you saw how I was pointing out that the precise like squall line that we saw that was so precise that it was curving around itself, that was right near Austin. So that's why you see here on the SBC that you have a hatched risk right for that same exact area. So very interesting to see what that plays out like tomorrow. And then this 15% risk also stretches into parts of Wyoming, and then also parts of Nebraska, and then obviously Colorado, and some major cities like Denver, Colorado, Cheyenne, Wyoming, and looks like Pueblo, Colorado. You guys are, I think you guys are just on the border of that. But anyways, anybody that is in the 5%, 15%, and 30% risk, you guys should be definitely paying attention to this video, and also just to your National Weather Service alerts, because you could definitely experience some pretty intense severe weather tomorrow. Hail threat, pretty big, like I told you guys. Like I said, with the Northern Texas hailmakers, I mean, here it is. Pretty much every severe weather event in Northern Texas, you're going to get at least one cell that's going to drop a 2-inch plus hailstone. I mean, it's pretty crazy, but, it's just mad out. It's mad crazy out there when you go to North Central Texas for those hail zones. But to be specific, Pampa, Texas, Borger, Texas, and Guayman, Oklahoma, you guys are, those cities are in the way of this hail threat, but we should be very grateful that this is not a hugely populated area. Like I said, I mean, again, this is really not too many people, as this is actually not this isn't a terribly small area. I mean, this is over 20,000 square miles, so if this was in like a densely populated area, we could definitely see some more people in the way of this, but only 143,000 people are in the way of this. So, obviously, just be very careful with this, and always pay attention to your alerts, like I said earlier. But, this shouldn't be too bad. But I really think that you guys in the enhanced alerts, you got to watch out for those damaging wind gusts and that hail. So you may have a combination of wind-driven hail. That's going to be pretty dangerous out there tomorrow. And we go to the day 2 threat. I'm not going to take too much time looking at this, but you're only up to a slight risk and then a marginal risk for this area in the southeast coastline, but then also this area a little bit farther west than what we're dealing with tonight and tomorrow. But a pretty big area, 21,000 people or 21 million people are in the way of this marginal risk for both sides of the country. Got farther west and then farther east. Tornado threat only up to 2% risk. You won't probably. I'm gonna say you're not gonna see a single tornado tomorrow. On I think this will be Friday or Thursday. I'm not sure. I think it's Thursday. And then 15% risk for hail. This is including cities like Denver, Colorado, Colorado Springs, Colorado, Aurora, Colorado, Fort Collins, Colorado, and Thornton, Colorado. And then hail threat, you're up to a 15% risk for the same exact area, except you do have a hatched risk. So we're going to be moving on to, I believe this is the southeast, this is the southeast U.S., and we're just going to be showing you guys the HRRR model, just showing you guys that this low pressure center is going to be producing tons and tons of rainfall. We're going to take a look in a minute at the rainfall total map, but I mean, I'm going to blow you guys' mind after this. But I mean, you can see that starting out tonight, this is just about in half an hour. This is 10 p.m. Eastern time tonight. You do have some pretty intense storms impacting the Tallahassee area and northern Florida. Then a few storms that have been rolling through South Carolina. I know if any of you guys know Mitch West, he's awesome. You should definitely subscribe to him. He does pretty much the same thing as I do. He does weather updates. He actually is in a pretty intense storm right now. But just pretty much everyone out here is getting hit by and rocked by these pretty steady thunderstorms. But these are going to continue through the night, and you have a huge line, just a line of bubbling thunderstorms that are going going to be exploding once we get through the late morning hours of tomorrow. But I mean, you can already tell that this is a very slow mover. But by the time we get into midday tomorrow, you finally do have that organized low pressure center right here, right in the middle of Georgia, and this is just going to be fueling the moisture in the Gulf of Mexico is just going to be fueling this newly formed low pressure center that's going to be giving the storm a lot more energy to keep producing and giving that rainfall to those clouds and obviously the southeast. But I mean, this is why this obviously we don't have enough model time left to see the entire duration of the storm. But I mean, this is going to last for days. I mean, look, I'm just going to put this out for like 48 hours. I mean, this is only 48 hours out. You almost have 3 inches of rain on the ground in South Carolina, Georgia, Long Island, and parts of southern New Jersey. But I mean, these 3 states that I just named, I mean, look at this. You got at least 2 inches in these pink spots right here. And then almost everyone else is in this blue, which is at least half an inch of rain in just 48 hours. I mean, this is pretty intense, but we continue this throughout the rest of the week, and it's still, you see, there's still more rain falling. Look at this down here in the panhandle of Florida. Almost 5 inches of rain. 5 inches of rain is definitely going to cause some mayhem on those roadways. I mean, look at this. Long Island, New York City, you guys are probably going to get up to 2 inches by the 26th, which I don't know if that's Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, but I mean, this is just crazy how much rain is going to fall. But I feel like the closer to the coast you are, and if you're, like, let's say you're farther down south and you're closer to the coastline, you're probably going to see the most of rain that everyone on this map is going to see. And then obviously if you're up here in the northeast, like maybe the New York City metro area and then areas just farther west than that, you could see up to like 4 inches of rain. I mean, I'm not even kidding. I mean, this is just crazy. But we are definitely going to see a ton of rainfall through the next week, and then I guess this definitely could continue through the next 2 weeks, but we obviously have to wait for future updates to kind of tell the difference, to tell if we're going to see this storminess continue into the next few weeks. But we're going to move on to the WPC Day 1 excessive rainfall outlook. And this is, I haven't really showed this to you guys on the channel yet, but this is this is just like the SPC. It's a really good map, and you can just kind of check this out once in a while when you think flooding is possible. Excuse me. But this kind of just tells you where the most excessive rainfall and flooding is each day. And for today, you're only up to a slight risk, which is, I believe this is at least 15%. So so you have an at least 15% chance of flooding for this area in northern Florida. But I do really think that this could have stretched out into parts farther south, closer down to the panhandle of Florida. But we skip ahead to day 2. So this would be for looks like June 26th. So this would be for tomorrow. So for tomorrow, you do have a lot of a bigger area in that slight risk, and you can see that this is hugging the coastline. So like I said earlier, if you're closer to the coast, I think you could definitely see more of that rainfall, but especially for the Carolinas. The Carolina coastline is probably where the most rain will fall, but also the Georgia coastline, and then obviously this area in northern Florida. You guys could definitely see, or you could be contenders for the areas with the most rainfall. Then we go to day 3, which would be, I believe, Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, and you're up to a marginal risk, but this area is a little bit farther into the northeast, and then this same exact area of northern Florida in the Carolinas, and then eventually the mid-Atlantic and the northeast. All of you guys are under a marginal risk for flooding and excessive rainfall for Thursday. And so that's going to be it for your United States forecast. And now we're going to be moving on to the tropics. So as you know, we have Tropical Storm Bret that we have to deal with, and we've got another tropical wave behind it that has a pretty good chance of forming. So we're going to break all this down. So here's Bret out here, just east of the Southern Antilles Islands, and basically what this is gonna what we're gonna see tonight is we're gonna see rapid intensification just before this makes landfall, and once it makes it past these islands, the Caribbean is known for the graveyard of tropical systems, and that is because there is so much wind shear out here that basically when storms pass the Southern Antilles Islands, they are torn to threads or shreds, and that's why you don't see any almost no. That's why you don't see almost any tropical systems in Central America because almost no systems make it past this general area. But if we click on Bret, you can see that you got a pretty nice storm right now. Um, you got wind gusts up to 65 miles per hour, and maximum sustained winds up to 55 knots, and then maximum sustained wind 65 miles per hour. And the minimum central pressure is only only 1,000 millibars. That's actually a pretty high number considering that we have a fairly strong tropical storm on our hands right now. But we've got a very slow mover right now. We've got moving west at 15 knots, which is equivalent to 15 miles an hour. 13 knots, equivalent to 15 miles an hour. But yeah, Bret is pretty much cruising out there, looking pretty healthy. But behind it, we have looks like this is Invest 93A or 93L, I should say, and they've actually bumped this up to a 90% risk for formation in the next 7 days. So this is actually pretty high, considering that this was actually only up to 80% this afternoon. But it looks like that this actually will form. So when you see 80% in the next 48 hours, and then for the next 7 days, 90%, you can kind of tell that this is pretty almost definitely going to form. So this would actually be Cindy, because we already have Bret, and I think we have, let me see, I'm trying to think of what the first name storm was. I forgot about it. Arlene, I think it was. But yes, but this would definitely be Cindy. But really, I don't think it's going to form tonight, or tomorrow. I think it's going to have to take a few days. So I think your best shot for formation is probably going to be Thursday afternoon into early morning Friday. I think that's where you're going to see the formation with this. But if you asked me if I think this is going to form or not, I'm going to say yes, just because there's a lot of moisture left behind from Bret due to this wind shear, and I think that this storm could definitely kind of soak it up. But if we looked at the GFS wants this storm to actually kind of move around and avoid the Southern Antilles Islands and actually almost take a aim for the East Coast. But it does take a roller coaster of a ride, so we could definitely see some differences in the model guidance with the kind of the idea of where this thing is going to be going. But I definitely think that this is going to be become at least a tropical depression. But yeah, so we're going to move on to the last part of the update, which is basically this new site, which I recently discovered. It's called Zoom Earth. And it's a really awesome site where you actually can track tropical like storms, and you can kind of just look at the latest updates and the latest models on basically the idea of where these storms are going and how strong they'll be. So obviously I'm going to use this for tracking Bret, and right now you can see that you've got Bret right here cruising just east of the Southern Antilles Islands. And I mean, these islands could definitely take a pretty nasty hit. You could already see that you've got tropical storm watches and tropical storm warnings up for the islands farther south. But like St. Vincent and the I don't know how do you pronounce it, Grenades. I definitely think I'm saying that wrong. But this island here of St. Vincent and whatever. If you guys know what this is, how do you pronounce this? But this general area, you guys are under a tropical storm watch. But Martinique, you guys are under a tropical storm warning. Now, I think these two islands right here, I don't know what the name of this one, but Martinique, you guys are definitely going to get hit pretty hard tonight, or tomorrow, I should say. So right now, Bret's cruising as a tropical storm, pretty strong tropical storm. This is a high-end tropical storm. I want you guys to remember that. You're up to 65 miles an hour, and these are for your winds. So wind gusts could quite possibly be 70 miles an hour right now. And we skip ahead to this tomorrow morning. Actually, so tomorrow morning is Thursday. So actually, so I guess 2 days out would be Friday. So tomorrow morning, this would be 2 a.m. You got 65 miles an hour, staying kind of just the same. And this is the forecast. This is not kind of just what, the models are saying. This is what we are expecting. So 65 miles an hour, still wind gusts, gusting around 70 to 70, 73, 74 miles an hour. And it's going to stay the same once this hits Barbados and, the St. Vincent Islands. But, I think once this reaches Barbados, it could definitely have a brief period of strengthening. I mean, maybe even sooner than that, maybe just before making a direct landfall on Barbados. But really, once it hits the Martinique Island, I think this is really going to kind of get as strong as it will in its entire lifetime. But, it could definitely do some damage out there. So you guys in Martinique and Barbados, I think you guys should be on alert the most. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I don't know if I'm saying that right again. I think you guys should definitely stay alert as well. But I think Martinique and Barbados you guys are going to get hit the most. But then this definitely is going to weaken dramatically just after passing the eye. Is going to pass through Martinique, and this would probably be out of Barbados already, but this will get downgraded to a 60 mile an hour tropical storm, and then this will just get shredded up by the Caribbean Sea wind shear out there. But this is a cone of uncertainty. So we don't know. This means basically what that means is that they're telling you that they're still not exactly sure of how strong it's going to get or where it's going to get. I think we have a pretty good and a general idea of where this is going to go. It's going to hit the Southern Antilles Islands. I think we already know that. But it could quite possibly make it through the Caribbean, and it could actually try and hit the western part of the Dominican Republic, and then also part of Puerto Rico. But the cone probably is gonna stay the same, but we still have to see where this is gonna be right around here. So Saturday. So like Saturday afternoon. Once we get to Saturday, guys, I want you guys to check out, you can check out my channel because I think I'll probably be doing an update around then. And I just want to point out that when we get to here, I think we could definitely make some interesting decisions on its next move, because I mean this has still got 45 mile an hour winds with wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour. This is a cruising tropical storm that is not going to be losing steam. So, I mean, could it make a secondary landfall in Jamaica, or is it gonna go for Central America? We don't know that yet, but we're gonna try and figure it out once we get to Saturday. Saturday is our goal to. That Saturday is like a golden ticket to where we can finally make our decision. But right now, we're focusing on the impacts of the Southern Antilles Islands. And I'm just going to say that my final words are that Barbados and Martinique, you guys, those two islands, you guys got to be prepared tonight, tomorrow, and then tomorrow evening is probably when this thing is going to start hitting. But Bret is gaining strength, and it is barreling towards you guys. So please take this time to seriously, prepare and get ready for the storm. But right behind it, right on its tails, I mean, like I said earlier, you've got 93 Invest 93L. You can see that you've got 80% chance of formation in the next 2 days, and then 90% formation in the next 7 days. And this is the track, the old track of it. So basically, how this was going was, I think this actually is forecasted. This is forecasted or to become tropical depression, or this. I don't know if this is actually the old. I think this is the old path of Bret. But, this used to be, 30 miles per hour is not bad. This is very close to becoming a tropical depression. I think as soon as tomorrow, we could definitely see this becoming a tropical depression. But like I said earlier in the update, really, if you ask me, I would say that it'd have to take some time and develop until probably Friday, and then maybe, like late evening hours of tomorrow. But that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you guys in the next video. But, like I said earlier, you guys in Barbados and Martinique, you guys got to prepare tonight, because Bret is going to slam you guys pretty hard. But otherwise, just for you guys in the United States, just prepare for that severe weather and that possible flooding. Because there is going to be a lot of storminess in the next few days across the eastern states and the western states. But, as always, just stay safe and have a good night. So we'll see you guys later, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.